Hi, um, welcome to a 20-minute yoga practice. I'm Wendy Morrison. So we're going to begin. Oh, you want to have maybe two blocks or two books, or you may want to have a chair nearby. We're going to do some lunges, and we get to the lunges. You may need a chair or blocks to get your legs to really stretch back. All right, so you could stop the video and go right now and get those things if you need them. So we're going to take a little time before the practice to get centered, to get present with this moment, to observe our current environment, and to watch the breath. So as you are either sitting or lying down or seated in a chair, any of those three positions is fine. You could be standing up also if you'd rather. You're in a comfortable position where you don't have to struggle to stay in that position. If you're lying down, you may have your knees bent or not, or you could be on your side. So taking a breath and letting it go with a sigh. Another breath in and let it go with a sigh. And then just watch the breath naturally moving in and out. They don't have to be big breaths. You might notice that they are relaxed or they have a little stress to them, that they are shallow or deep. It doesn't matter. You're just observing whatever is. And in this observation, we are being in the present moment and observing the present moment. Through our senses, we observe the outer world. We know that we're sitting or lying down or standing, and that a part of our body is touching the ground. Part that is closest to the ground, to the center of the earth. And as we're touching there, we notice what that sensation is like. And we notice how it changes with the breath. And we notice our inner environment. You may notice the taste in your mouth. You may notice sounds that are coming from inside the body. Some people can notice the beating of the heart. Maybe there's a sound with the breath. Or maybe you have a ringing in your ears or a sound in your ears. Try to observe it without judging it, without um, jumping to fix it, without wishing it was any different than it is, just letting it be the way that it is. And we notice the inner environment of the mind, thoughts coming and going, emotions coming and going. And we notice that all things that arise pass away. So even though it feels like those emotions are there all the time, they come and they go. And even though the thoughts seem to be very busy, or maybe they don't, but if they do, they too come and go. There are times when there are no thoughts, and we observe that. And we don't judge those thoughts, they're just thoughts. Don't take them personally, just observe. So now we're going to turn toward our breath a little bit again, seeing it coming and going. And when you're ready, you're going to stretch a little bit and notice how the breath affects the stretching and how the stretching affects the breath. If you're lying down, you're stretching from a lying down position. If you're seated, you're stretching from a seated position. If you're standing, you're stretching from a standing position. And eventually we're going to come up and stand up. You can move your blanket aside if you have one, and come to the center of your mat or the center of the space you're working in. And we'll first observe Tadasana. So we're standing with the feet parallel. You have the inside edge of the ball of the foot down, the outside edge of the heel, the outside edge of the ball of the foot, and the inside edge of the heel. And as you're observing those four corners pushing down, you notice that the legs turn in when you push on the inside edges, and the legs turn out when you push on the outside edges. And we're balancing all four, and not only are we balancing through the corners, but also through the diagonal lines between the inner and the outer, or between the heel and the ball of the foot. That's what it really is. So that center pad of the heel is now our point of observation. And we look at that center pad. You may find that you are a little on the inside edges of the heels or a little on the outside edges of the heels, or whatever you notice. And you find that center of the pad of the heel and you step down into there. And as you do, the legs activate, the abdomen activates, the waist narrows, the rib cage elongates, and the shoulders relax. And the shoulders come over the hips and the ears come over the shoulders. Throat goes back toward the wall behind you. This pose is called Tadasana. It's the mountain pose. And you feel solid like a mountain. And it's a place where we start observing as being upright and standing. This is our first pose. And observing how the right and the left sides feel, and how the breath affects the pose, how the pose affects the breath. All right, so now we're going to turn toward the left, or toward your chair if you have a chair. You may not have brought a chair to your practice, and maybe you will next time if you watch this again, but you don't have to have a chair. We're going to do lunges. And lunges, we have 1 foot back and 1 foot forward. And what we're trying to do is bring the left foot forward and the right foot back and get the hips to come down as low as that front knee. And in order to do that, you may need to have a chair in front of you where you can put your hands so that you can walk the foot back a little bit. Or you might have blocks on either side. And you put your hands on the blocks so you can take the back leg back a little bit. Or you might be able to put your hands on the floor and still take your leg back. Each lower position that I went to allowed my leg or asked of my leg that the back leg go back farther and come down lower. So you adjust to having the chair or not having the chair. And then we take a breath in, and as we exhale, we rock back and forth and step. Bending either with the knees bent or not, and then inhale, bend the knees, reach out and up. As you exhale, you're in Tadasana. So, either using the chair or not, I'm going to use the chair one more time. Take a breath in, reach out and up. As you exhale, hands on the chair, step the right foot forward. I like to go all the way up until my knee is touching the chair. And as you exhale, reach back through the left heel. You're trying to get your hips to be the same height as your front knee. Take a breath in. Draw the front of the left thigh up toward the back of the left thigh. Reach back. Feel the front of the left groin area and the left thigh stretching open. Inhale. Step back just a little bit if you're using the chair. And step forward. And as you exhale, bow. And inhale, bend the knees and come back up. Exhale, Tadasana. So without the chair, you might be using the blocks or not. Stand between the blocks if you are. Inhale, reach out and up. Exhale, Uttanasana, forward bend. Stepping back with the left foot. Right knee right over the ankle. We just did the left foot, didn't we? Step back with the right foot. Left knee right over the ankle. The front of the right thigh. Lifting up into the back of the right thigh. You might be having the hands on the floor, but it doesn't take your buttocks up to do that. Breath in, rock back and forth, and step. Bow if you can, bent knees or not. Inhale, come back up again, push off with your feet. Exhale, Tadasana. Inhale, reach out and up. Exhale, Uttanasana. Step back with your left foot. Right knee right over the ankle. See how I moved my foot forward a little bit so I could, because it was behind the knee. So I want the right knee right over the ankle. Lift up with the front of the left thigh. Tuck the right buttock in behind the knee. Breathe. And rock back and forth and step. Inhale, reach out and up. Exhale, Tadasana. Coming to the middle of the mat, facing out toward the computer. You're in Tadasana. Again, feet are parallel, corners are anchored, center pad of the heels are down, ears, shoulders over the hips, over the ankles. And we're going to step apart. Right foot toward the right, left foot toward the left. The right foot is pointing toward the right. The left foot is pointing a little bit toward the right. And you're going to be dropping in that back hip. Breathing. The sit bone on the right side, on the forward knee side, is going to move in so that it's right behind the knee. And it's right over that line that's between the 2 feet. This is Virabhadrasana 2 that we're setting up for. And in this, we're dropping in the back hip and moving the hips toward the right. As you move them toward the right, you're anchoring the left foot so that as you move toward the right, you end up with the shoulders right over your hips. Inhale, up with the right arm. And that moves the shoulders back just a little bit. And as you exhale, arms over the legs. Watch that right knee doesn't drop toward me. Stays aligned with the middle toes. If it's not staying, bring your buttock in over the line between the 2 feet. Step into the outside edge of the back foot and watch the breath. How does the breath change the pose? How does the pose change the breath? If you had an imaginary friend, they'd be pulling your left arm back just a little bit to keep the shoulders over the hips. Don't let your arms and shoulders come way out over the front leg. Inhale and exhale. Point your feet forward and walk or step or jump the feet together. What does the right foot feel like? What does the left side feel like? Are they equal right now or something different? Now we're going to step the left foot to point toward the left and the right foot line up the right arch with the left foot. And as you breathe, you're going far enough, you're going as far apart as you can go and still have this anchored feeling in your feet. It's maybe 2.5 feet or something like that. If you're taller, it's farther apart. You're turning that back foot in. You're breathing and observing. We would like our shoulders to end up over the hips. So one thing we're going to do is take the hips a little bit toward that front knee, and that will bring the shoulders back over the hips a little bit. Watch that the sit bone on the left is not sticking way back there. Bring it in over the line between the 2 feet. Pointing the front knee toward the middle of the foot. Inhale, up with the front arm. And this is reverse Virabhadrasana 2. And as you do this, the hips are moving toward the left. And then bringing the arms up. And take a little more energy into the outside edge of the back foot, the right foot. Turn the palms up, take the shoulder blades down. Palms down without the shoulder blades coming up. Looking over the left hand. Really reach into the right foot and lift up on the inner right arch. Breathing. And then step or jump the feet back. Coming to center. And you're back to Tadasana. Now feel what the right and left sides feel like now. Do you feel like you evened up the right and the left side when you did the second side? So in Tadasana, again, as we step into the 4 corners of the feet, we're doing the inner and outer movement of the legs. Inner points on the feet, turn the legs in. Outer points on the feet, turn the legs out. And we're doing both. And we're stabilizing the outer ball of the foot with the inner heel and the inner ball of the foot with the outer heel through those diagonal lines. And that stabilizes the body above. So now we're going to come down to the floor or down to your chair if you want to sit on your chair. We're going to do a little bit of chanting that will help to balance the vagus nerve. And you could really do any sounds, but we're going to use the root sound in Sanskrit, which is the very first sound in the alphabet. And it happens to be a sound that is the first sound in a lot of alphabets. So we're using the sound, and we're going to sit down. You might be sitting on a blanket. The reason we sit on a blanket is so that the body can get up a little higher and it relaxes the hip joints a little bit, and it allows the torso to be upright instead of pulling back. If you're pulling back, then get up higher and higher and higher so you can fold your blanket a bunch of times to get up higher. And breathing. We're going to take a breath in. And we're going to make an sound. When you're ready to breathe again, take a breath in. I mean, you can breathe before this, but when you're ready next time to inhale, take a breath in. You might notice a pause after the exhalation where there's no breath in or out, and then the body starts breathing again. And when you're ready to inhale the next time, inhale. Just listen, see if you hear the sound come back. And then when you're ready, we're going into relaxation. So you could be lying down on your back or on your side. If you're on your back, you could have your knees bent or not. And you could also be seated in a chair if you're more comfortable that way. I'm going to sit on my blanket because I want to still be projecting my voice and watching the time and being mindful of your experience. You don't have to sit down. You can lie down. That's preferable. If you're seated, that's fine, but you can really relax when you're lying down. And that's what we want at this moment. We want to let go of any tensions, let go of whatever you're holding on to. You can imagine the breath coming and going is washing the body clean. There's energy that comes in with the breath. That energy is loosening up whatever you don't need as it comes in with the inhalation. And as it goes out, the exhalation carries with it the loosened up stuff. It could be stuff that's actually stored in the cells. It could be memories, physical stuff in the cells that you don't need. It could be thoughts, emotions. Just imagine that the inhalation comes in, loosens all that stuff up that you don't need. And as you exhale, it lets go of it. Doesn't matter how small the inhalation is or how large the inhalation is. Doesn't matter how long or short the exhalation is. It's the same process. The energy comes in with the inhalation, loosens up what you don't need, and you let go of it with the exhalation. There may be, I can't remember what I was going to say. Letting go, letting go. Each breath takes you in a little deeper. Not that the breath is deep necessarily, but you're going into deeper places in your awareness of the body and of the mind and of the heart. And you're noticing how every cell of the body is starting to relax as it lets go of what it doesn't need. The mind can relax, the heart can soften. And with the next exhalation, you're going to smile just a little bit with the face, with the lips, the mouth. The kind of smile that maybe no one else would even notice, but you do notice that you're smiling. And that smile brings a message into your body, into your whole body. Not just the mouth knows it's smiling. Every cell in the body knows the mouth is smiling. And you can feel the whole body relaxing and softening. Leaving behind a feeling of well-being. I honor within you what I honor within myself. A place of love and light and truth and harmony. And when you come from that in you and I come from that in me, we know that we are one.